English grammar through stories. And today's our lesson is articles in English grammar or Charlie the Brave is our story. Now, in this story, you'll see many different uses of the articles. First, I'll give you some brief notes on when to use the definite article the and when not, and also when to use the indefinite article a and an, and again when not. Afterwards, you can read the story. Articles, both definite and indefinite. Indefinite, a and an. Uses before a singular noun which is countable when it is mentioned for the first time and represents no particular person or thing. A horse is a noble animal before a singular countable noun which is used as an example of a class of things. A book is something you read. With a noun complement, including names of professions. She is a doctor. He became a famous actor. In certain numerical expressions, a dozen, 100. In expressions of price, speed, and ratio, 60 miles an hour, 4 hours a day, 30% or portion, a box with few and little, a few people, a little sugar. In exclamations before singular, countable nouns. What a pity! What a sunny day! It can be replaced before Mr., Mrs., Miss plus surname. A Mr. Brown phoned today. Not used before plural nouns. Horses are noble animals. Before uncountable nouns. Milk is good for you. Before abstract nouns. Fear is natural. Before names of mills, except when preceded by an adjective. We had a late breakfast and decided to miss lunch. Definite the article. Uses before nouns of which there is only one, the ears is round. Before a noun which has become definite as a result of being mentioned a second time. We saw a good film last night. It was the film you recommended. Before a noun made definite by the addition of a phrase or clause, the women dressed in black. Before a noun which by reason of locality can represent only one particular thing. There is a bee in the kitchen. Before superlatives and first, second, and only. The longest river in the world. Before singular nouns used to represent a class of objects. The donkey is a very obstinate animal. Before an adjective used to represent a class of persons, that tax hurt the rich. Before names of seas, rivers, chains of mountains, groups of islands, and plural names of countries. The Pacific Ocean, the Thames, the Alps, the West Indies, the Netherlands. Before musical instruments, she plays the piano. Not used before countries, towns, and proper names. Charlie lived in Chicago in America. Before abstract nouns, jealousy can be dangerous. Before parts of the body and articles of clothing, these normally prefer a possessive adjective. Lift your left arm. He removed his hat. Charlie the Brave. Charlie is a teacher, and his wife Mariah is an artist. Please pay particular attention for the italics articles. One of the main differences between the two is that Charlie has no imagination, well, perhaps a little, whereas Mariah has the most vivid imagination you could think of. Now, imagination is an essential quality if you are an artist, but sometimes it can lead to problems. Take the night before last, for example. It was a fine summer night, and you could see the moon and the stars quite clearly. It was shortly before the longest day of the year. Charlie was sitting in a deck chair, enjoying the warm summer air when he felt something touch his shoulder. It was Mariah's hand, and he could tell immediately she was a little worried about something. He had noticed this sensation 100 times before. He asked her what the matter was, and she replied that there was a strange thing on the jacket that was hanging in the bathroom. Now, you must remember that they had both lived in the West Indies and had seen a lot of strange creatures in their house before. But now they were living in England, and so Charlie just laughed and said he would have a look at the thing. He left the garden and made his way to the bathroom. He could see a jacket hanging in the bedroom and went up to it to have a closer look at the thing. The moment he touched it, the thing sprang into life. Now Charlie experiences fear like the rest of us. But when these creatures opened its wings, he jumped out of his skin and ran screaming from the room like a small child doing about 100 miles an hour. What a fuss, you may say, and the brave among you may well regard such behavior as pathetic, but bats. For this thing was a bad, bring out the worst in many people. For a moment, the next door neighbors thought that Charlie was murdering his wife because of the noise they could hear. In fact, the bat was the one that was frightened, and it fluttered its wings and flew from one side of the bedroom to the other. Eventually, Charlie managed to trap the bat in a box and went out into the front garden, clutching the box as if it had a bomb inside it, took off the lid, and the bat, obviously delighted to be free, flew away into the dark. Eventually, Mariah, who had been playing the guitar while Charlie was upstairs, asked Charlie if he had found out what the thing was. Oh, nothing to worry about, he said, casually hoping that the terror could not be seen in his eyes. It was just a bat. That's the end of this lesson.